Welcome back to Fox and Friends. Last week's landing of the space shuttle Atlantis put a virtual end to the U.S. space program. Now U.S. astronauts will have to hitch a ride with the Russians if they wanted to get into space. And we learned this week the Russians wanted to get rid of the space station. Put the clamp down on that. And now we're turning to Russia for even more, like looking to the Kremlin to resolve the conflict in Libya now. Here with us is Fox News contributor and former U.S. ambassador to the United Nations, John Bolton. Nice to see you, Mr. Ambassador. Welcome to the show as usual.
Glad to be with you.
So you say that this would damage the reputation of the United States and NATO, basically turning the keys over to Russia to handle what's going on in Libya. How so?
Well, this whole NATO operation in Libya is going very badly. We're into the 5th month of the military assault to get rid of Gaddafi. He's still there. In fact, there's now turmoil inside the rebel side, a top rebel military leader assassinated by his own bodyguards, and reports of internal hostilities in Benghazi among the rebels. So at this point, for President Obama and Secretary Clinton to invite Russia in to mediate between our alliance and the Libyans really is giving the Russians an opportunity it just boggles the mind to think about.
And I'm confused here, Ambassador, because I remember the Russians continually criticizing the United States throughout this entire process. Now we're basically turning the keys over to the folks who were criticizing us the entire time?
Well, precisely. The Russians, the Chinese, and others abstained on the Security Council resolution that touched this whole thing off, making it very clear throughout, as you indicate, they don't like what NATO's been doing. So even if you believe that mediation was the right way to go, whatever happened to countries like Sweden or Switzerland to let them mediate? The real point, however, is that having launched NATO on this operation, for NATO to fail to get rid of Gaddafi, which it's on the verge of doing, will be a huge defeat for the United States, for the alliance, not just in North Africa and the Middle East, but around the world.
The other question about these rogue regimes, obviously trying to oust one rogue regime, that led by Gaddafi, is there concern that by turning the keys over to Russia and turning our backs on Libya that we wind up with another rogue regime?
Well, absolutely. I mean, there are all kinds of bad possibilities. The British and the French in recent weeks, for example, have even said publicly that they could accept a situation where Gaddafi steps down but stays in the country. And reports are the U.S. has supported that behind the scenes. That's just a prescription for more fighting. So you could have either Gaddafi replaced by another terrorist regime, or you could have chaos in the space of Libya that allows terrorist groups like al-Qaeda to use it as a base for operations. This is a massive failure by the United States. Even though I think we had perfectly good grounds to oust Gaddafi, we have not done so, and it looks worse and worse by the day that we're not going to be able to accomplish that.
It's hard to believe that we're into the 5th month in all of this. This was not supposed to take this long at all. Ambassador Bolton, always great to see you on Fox and Friends. Enjoy your weekend.
Thanks again.
Coming up here on the show.